Hello and welcome to my home. This video is on how to make a homemade vegan chocolate cake. The ingredients you are going to need in the equipment is vinegar, vegetable oil, salt, baking soda. Why it's baking soda is because baking powder actually contains calcium, and if we're looking to have it vegan-free, calcium is not vegan. Calcium is an animal byproduct, whether it's powdered, dried, or not. You're also going to need just white granulated sugar, cocoa powder, vanilla extract. You're going to need 1 cup of water, and you're going to need a flour. For vegan chocolate cake, what you can do is I just use a white unbleached flour, pastry flour, regular flour, whatever you kind of flour. As me, I prefer unbleached. It's a bit healthier. Now, if you're looking to make a gluten-free chocolate cake, what you can do is you can use coconut flour, rice flour, or almond flour in place of your wheat flour. The other thing as well is if you don't want to add just water, maybe you want to add some form of milk, what you can do is there are alternatives out there. The alternative to 1 cup of water would be 1 cup of almond milk, rice milk, or coconut milk. Those are the alternatives to using just water. Now, for vegan, water is as vegan as possible as you can get. The other thing you're going to need is a greased cake pan. So I'll be greasing this pan for my cake batter. You're going to need teaspoons, measuring spoons, sorry. You're going to need measuring cups. I got 3 different kinds here, so it depends what you have available at home. You will need a spoon to stir or a whisk to blend. If you have a handheld blender mixer, that's fine. You can use that as well. It makes it faster and brings it smooth. If you're going to do this by hand, mixing the cake and blending everything well together, it takes a little longer because what we need to do is we need to make sure that all those dry ingredients are mixed well with the wet ingredients and there's no pockets of dry ingredients in there. So that's the difference with the blender and the hand mixing, is the blender kind of does that a little bit faster, the electric, versus manually. I'm going to do it manually, and I'm just going to make sure I have it well blended. So let's get started on measuring out the ingredients and making the cake batter to get it in the oven. Now measuring the ingredients, the one and a half cups of flour. So here's 1 cup of flour. We're going to go into now getting 1/2 cup of flour. So that's 1.5 cups of flour. We're going to need 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. Same thing like the flour. If you're looking to get it exactly, you could use that butter knife to scrape off the top part so there's no excessive measurement. There's 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. We're going to need the 1 cup of white granulated sugar. Just your average sugar. You will need 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You will need 1 teaspoon of the baking soda. Now remember, it's vegan. It's vegan cake, so you need the baking soda versus baking powder, because baking powder has calcium in it, which is not vegan. That is obviously an animal byproduct. So vegan would be the baking soda. All there is in there is bicarbonated soda, which is baking soda. We're also going to need 1 teaspoon. Well, first, let's mix the ingredients together very well, the dry ingredients. Then we're going to add in the wet ingredients to the dry batter. Some people will sift their flour first before putting it in and mixing it up, because what it does is it helps to eliminate all those clumps ahead of time. So yes, mix that well, blend it well. Try your best to get all the clumps out if you didn't sift it prior to putting it in the bowl. And then what we're going to do is continue on to the wet ingredients. On to putting in the wet ingredients. We're going to need the 1 teaspoon of the vanilla extract. There's the 1 teaspoon. One teaspoon of the vinegar. You will need a 1/3 cup of the vegetable oil. And you'll also use this vegetable oil to line the base of your cake pan so your cake doesn't stick to your pan as it's baking. So don't put the oil away right away. You're going to need it again for oiling your pan, or greasing it as they call it. Then you're going to need 1 cup of water. Mine has been filtered water through my Brita, and it's just room temperature. You can use cold water, hot water, doesn't matter, from the tap, whatever you would like to do. So here are all the ingredients. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is just blend this up and mix it very well together. And as I'm doing this, the other thing I'm going to do is you're going to take your oven and you're going to put it on bake, and you're going to bake it at 350. So what you want to do is you want to preheat your oven to ensure that it's at the right temperature before putting your cake in there, your cake batter. I'm going to mix it very well, trying to take out all the bubbles of those dry ingredients to make the batter more smooth. Again, I always encourage for families to cook and bake together, to be together in the kitchen. Some say kitchen is the heart of the home. And what I would do is also get your children involved, because it's chemistry, it's art, creativity, math, the sciences, and good quality bonding time with your family and your children. Your children will learn that skill that will help them later on in life to be independent, which is cooking, baking. And the other thing as well is it just, yeah, like I said, brings that bonding together. Okay, my cake mixer batter, look at that, just nice and smooth. Oh, didn't take too long to tastes just like cake batter that you would get from the box, but better. Anyways, just blend it in there really well, mix it, get all those bubbles out, those dry pockets of ingredients. What I do after I grease my pan and I get it all ready for the batter, I will pick it up, about a quarter inch off of the, or a half inch off of the, quarter to a half inch off of the counter, and I'll do that and drop it gently down 3 times to try to get all those bubbles out. So I would say it takes about anywhere from a half hour to 45 minutes for your cake to cook fully. Now, other than timing it, what you could do is you can use a toothpick. And every once in a while, when you see it start to cook and get more solid and be ready, you're going to take your toothpick and pick it in the middle, push it in the middle of the cake and pull it out. If wet cake batter comes out, it's not ready yet. The other way, if you don't have toothpicks, is you could take your finger and gently press down the center of the cake to see if it springs back. Okay, let's get our cake pan ready. My oven's ready, my batter's ready. So I'm going to just pour some vegetable oil in there. Probably like a quarter cup or a little under a quarter cup. Align the sides with it. And the main part of the body as well. Just get it well coated. Okay. Now it's time to put the cake batter into the pan. Now this is not your regular cake pan that I have. I don't have a cake pan, believe it or not, but I know this will do anyways. You could use any shape of cake pan you want. It's up to you. That's your choice. If you ever wanted to make like a mint flavor or almond, you just add in the different kind of extracts in there. To keep this as a vegan vanilla cake, just take away or omit the chocolate, the cocoa powder. Whoops. There we go. And here is my cake mix, my batter, my homemade batter, my homemade vegan chocolate cake batter. So what that does is when you do that, you can actually see some of the bubbles popping. Take my cake and I'm going to place it in my oven, and I'm going to let that cook, that bake. Okay, so now you can see my cake has been baked. This is my vegan chocolate cake, homemade. And as I said, I'm going to check. I can tell that it's done, but just as an extra step of insurance, I'm going to take my toothpick. I'm going to put it into the middle, insert it into the middle of the cake. And as you can see, when I pull it out, there was no cake on it. That means this cake is well done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let this cool off.